Action Radio World and welcome to my review for the new found footage documentary called The Conspiracy. Just finished watching this movie and I gotta say I was really impressed. It's very interesting to take upon the idea of conspiracy theories and secret society clubs controlling us. We are slaves to the system in a sense. I liked the theme of the movie and I really liked what it had to offer, and it was very interesting from start to finish. So let's talk about The Conspiracy. Why did you black out the sun? So the storyline follows two young filmmakers that have just come out of university. They're making a documentary about a guy that believes in conspiracy theories, and it's the idea of following him, listening to him, seeing what his theories are, and just monitoring him just by day, and just seeing how people react. And it's based on the idea of how one person can believe in such in a sense mad ideas. In a sense people say it's crazy or you're just a lunatic, or people don't want to hear the truth in a sense. And it's the idea of following someone that truly believes in these kind of theories. If they're wrong, then fair enough, then whatever. But what if they're right? What if they are piecing together things which they should not piece together? And it's the idea of that. And all of a sudden one day he disappears, and just out of nowhere, he disappears, vanishes. Our main character gets a bit obsessed over it, and he tries to figure out why he disappeared, what happened to him, what did he discover, and he starts researching, picks up where he left off, and he finds that there's a secret society club called the Tarsus Club, if I said that correctly. He basically searches a bit too deep and he finds answers which he should not be looking into, and the movie goes from there pretty much, and that's our kind of main plot. I have to say I was very impressed by this movie. I mean, I saw the trailer and I saw a couple of posters and I knew it had some entertainment value in it from some of the clips I saw, but I was not expecting this movie to be as kind of depth and interesting as I thought it was going to be. I mean, obviously the idea is about conspiracy theories, and it actually is based upon real actual facts in real life. The actual Tarsus Club is actually a real fact, that secret society club. It's the idea of the conspiracy theories behind 9/11, the war on terror, secret order societies, and just things like that. It's the idea of piecing all those kind of theories and putting them into one movie and just seeing what you get out of it. And I think it works generally quite well. And if you can research these, you can actually go out and research these facts, and they actually are true. They, most of them are there right in front of us. But it's the idea of are we a slave to the system in a sense? And the film works very, very well in the end. It's generally quite interesting. The first couple of minutes just hooks you like that, and it's just very interesting. You meet our kind of main character, our main guy that disappears into the movie, and he's a very interesting character, very nice, very honest person. It's the idea of if one person, just takes one person to spread the truth, then you can get 2 people and 3 people, and it's the idea of that. And I really like some of the quotes and the idea and the themes and the topics. I think were very interesting. I mean, a lot of the idea, especially back in the 80s, they said that government control, Big Brother would monitor us and monitor our actions and see what we say and what we do. And it's the idea that we created internet, we created social networks for them to do it even better. I like the idea of that, and I like how some of the interviews and some of the people's reactions are very interesting. How the idea we don't we're just blind to the truth in a sense. Now the film is a found footage documentary type movie. It's done in the same style as the Tunnel and District 9. The idea that the events have already played out, it's already happened, and you're interviewing certain people that were involved around this. And I like how the style of the movie is done, and it's very interesting in terms of the interview styles, and of course showing kind of facts and figures and key leaders and stuff like that. I think the actual the style and the making of the movie I think is generally quite interesting, and it generally is quite a gripping ride from start to finish. I like how the characters interact with each other, and I really like them gathering information, and it gets deeper, and it's like, is this actually real? This could be real. And I like the idea the main kind of theme it goes into is the idea of the Tarsus Club, the idea of these politicians, these people behind the actual government itself are making all the decisions, and they meet up now and again. A couple of years before major world crisis in a sense, like 9/11, like World War II, World War I kind of thing. People like that, and they gather together to talk about these type of events and how they plan to do it. And they do this kind of ritualized kind of kills and the hunt as it's known, and they worship a kind of a god, a religious kind of god in the sense. And it's very interesting how they go really deep in depth into this, and this is actually based upon true facts. It does exist in some way, shape or form, but to what extent we don't know. The last kind of 20 minutes of the movie is all kind of I would say fabricated, or just an idea of what actually these society clubs do in a sense, and what actually would entail, and if this thing does happen, this is what actually would happen. And it's very interesting to see that on screen. And if you really start paying attention to the movie, you start really listening to all these facts and figures, and you really, get invested into the characters, invested into what the main theme is about, it gets really kind of creepy and scary. I mean, I finished the movie and I'm actually pretty shaken up a little bit, because it feels so real, and the idea that the information and the facts are right there in front of us. What happens if this was real? And it's a bit scary to think, in all fairness, the idea of control. And I like some of the set pieces, like the idea like the advance following the kind of main film crew, and it's just peering up in places which you shouldn't do. Being the fact it's a bit of a horror type movie, I think it's actually pretty scary than most movies I've seen this year, in all fairness, I have to be completely honest. It just shows you what they think is actually happening, and it's actually pretty scary and pretty creepy to think about. And the acting and the characters of the movie, I think, is pretty decent. We've got some really interesting range of characters. Our main two filmmaker characters, they're really likeable, really relatable. There's just two ordinary kind of uni student, college students making a documentary, and they get too deep, they get too caught up in it, and I think they cross a line definitely, and it gets a bit too real in some places, and you can definitely feel for some of the characters, especially one character, I think his name is Jim, the father character. He's got like a wife and a daughter, and I really feel sorry for him, because like it's getting obviously deeper and deeper, and obviously his friend's gonna just obviously finding out a bit too much, and if this is real, then he's worried for his family's sake, in a sense. He doesn't want his wife and daughter to become part of this, and end up suffering the consequence because of his actions. And it gets a bit like, whoa, interesting kind of thing. And now this movie's not going to be for everyone. I think some people will get bored of this movie very fast. It's a type of movie that you need to get invested to. You need to actually sit down, watch it, no distractions, just kind of invest your time and energy into it, listen to what they're saying, get really invested into the movie. And I think if you do that, you really will enjoy it, and you will get creeped out by it. I mean, I certainly did. And the idea of control and the actual facts and figures they're talking about in this movie, and the conspiracy theories, and just the whole idea of society clubs and stuff like that, it's actually a pretty scary thought. And for me, things like that are the most scariest. I mean, I think war movies for me are the most scariest things in films, to be perfectly honest. They're more scary than any horror movie that I ever will see. And I think this movie touches upon a couple of issues and a couple of things which actually affected me in a certain way. And it's got a horror, tone to it, and especially the last 20 minutes definitely were very kind of creepy horror-like tones. It's a cult-like stuff. But I think it's not going to be for everybody. I think some people want to like it, some people will hate it probably. It definitely will not please everybody. There's a couple of things which touches upon the idea of like religion and kind of beliefs and stuff like that. So I think some people will get offended by this movie possibly, but I actually really enjoyed it. I felt it had some very interesting ideas. I thought the acting was appropriately done, and I would definitely rewatch it again. I would definitely buy it on DVD or Blu-ray, and I like the idea of it. I think it was interesting. I really like the ending of the movie also. I felt it was a very kind of like interesting kind of thing, a very like makes you think type ending in a sense, and I really like the ideas of it. So I definitely recommend you go and check it out. If you're not a fan of found footage movies or documentaries, please go and check it out. It's something worth watching. It's definitely worth 90 minutes of your time for sure. So that's been my view for The Conspiracy. If you enjoyed watching this video, what do you think? Do you think it was a good movie? Do you think it's a bad movie? Let us know in your comments, comment down below. So in the meantime, Andrew from Media World from Game TV. Signing out.